This episode of Beyond the Tube, Real Stories, Real Advice is proudly brought to you by TubiFun. TubiFun are a fantastic company who endeavour to make tube feeding a little bit more fun for our Tubi kids and their families. Check out TubiFun on Instagram via the link in our show notes. Thanks again to TubiFun for sponsoring today's episode and for your continued support of the Tubi community. Welcome back to Beyond the Tube. As promised, we are joined again by the wonderful Belle Kelly, who is our business consultant specializing in the NDIS. Today, we're specifically going to go through how the NDIS can actually support our Tubi kids. So welcome back to Belle.
Thanking you.
So what I would like to unpack in this episode is specifics around what families with a tube-fed child, whether that may be an NG tube or some sort of PEG, some sort of feeding difficulty, what kinds of supports specifically can they obtain from the NDIS?
Brilliant.
What, in your opinion, should all of our Tubi families be going for in their NDIS plan?
Brilliant. Shall we start with the three different subjects of an NDIS?
Yes. Beautiful.
Right. So capacity building, probably the most important at this point, particularly if you're starting off. Physiotherapy.
Yes.
We have occupational therapy, which is the start because obviously you need a full capacity assessment.
Yes.
Dietitian, speech therapy, psychology, behavior support, psychology.
Yes.
And personally, I think nursing is actually really, really important because that needs to include training.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's capacity building. Consumables.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most big topics. And look, I like to go from the top of the body to the bottom of the body. And you go, okay, great. Well, capacity building, we're looking at mind, we're looking at the physicals, the inside equipment.
Yes.
A lot of people need physical equipment. And thankfully, these allied health professionals that are writing these reports will know exactly what you need and be able to quote.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
Yes.
But again, it really depends on the person.
Yeah, of course.
Because, not everyone's stock standard by any means. But look, I say reach for the stars because you're more likely to be met halfway.
Yes.
And then
very much.
Core is another big one. So for that, it will be support work.
Yes.
I think a lot of it, majority of it, whether it's, like the one-on-one, coming in, supporting you or supporting the participant, whatever is needed, core support workers.
On the support work topic.
Yes.
I know of a lot of families who have got young children who may be under the age of 5, like Ezra, only 3.5, who have been rejected for support work.
Absolutely.
Why do the NDIS support work category or under core, why do they push that away and push it out of reach for people who are so young? And they deem it as unnecessary because they should be going to preschool. These are the things I've heard. They should be going to preschool. You should have grandparents. These are the things I've personally heard. And I'm positive that there are other people listening and watching right now.
Billion%
who have heard these things as well. And I'm positive it's also not just tube kids. It's probably kids who have got, children with autism, other developmental delays that are hearing these same sorts of things, that are fighting with their kids to get out of bed and dressed in the morning and need, for us to need support with feeds. There's illness, who's looking after them whilst we're all going to work and doing 40 hours a week.
Exactly.
Both parents, often grandparents now are working as well. So that's what is unavailable. If it's even part of the question, what can parents do to ensure they've got the best chance of getting at least some support work funding?
Look, the NDIS look at particularly children, anything from 7 to 10 down. They go, Mum and Dad can do it.
Yes.
They use these wonderful words of informal support.
Yes.
Because if they know that there's Nan and Granddad around the corner, they know that Auntie Lee will drop everything and pick them up 5 days a week, the NDIA will look at that and go, oh, well, they've got a support system. We don't want to pay for it.
Yes.
And it's not about that.
Yeah.
Because, at the end of the day, you don't want to rely on every single person in your support network.
No.
You want to support your parts, your child.
Yes.
The best way you can. You don't want to have to rely on everyone, and nor should you. Because I think at the end of the day, Ezra, perfect example, he was not born to then have his entire world turn upside down and be forced to be supported just by mum and dad and nan and pop. And he should be able to get up of a morning and his lovely support worker, Julie's turned up and she's coming in. You've had a hard night, mum.
Yeah.
You've been up all night. She's coming in and she's giving you a hand.
Yeah.
She's giving you what you need to support your son to the best ability.
Yes.
And, again, the NDIS, the first thing they'll say is, okay, well, who else is in the person's life?
Yes.
Because they're automatically going, okay, great. And where do they live?
Yeah.
And they start asking questions. First thing I would say is, I don't need to discuss my informal supports.
Yeah.
Because this person, so Ezra's family, our friends and everything, they're not here to be helping me at 7 a.m.
Yes.
to help with feeding.
Yeah.
I would say that, listen, we have a loved one, lots of loved one around him. However, they're not here to support him.
Yeah.
I need support from the NDIS, which is what it came in to be.
Yeah.
Because also what happens is that puts pressure on your family.
Yes.
And your friends.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it's kind of like, I should be getting paid for this. Or there's resentment. And it's not their fault. That's how I come to it.
Yes.
Ezra came into this wonderful world and was like, great, I'm going to cause havoc amongst the entire family in a positive way.
Of course.
But, this is what the NDIS is for.
Yeah.
You have to fight. Again, it's, they want to talk about these informal supports. It's none of their business.
Yes.
None of their business. Yes, mum and dad are home, but mum and dad are going to leave the house at 9 a.m. because they have to work.
Yes.
Pay their mortgage.
Yeah.
They can't come, and they can't leave their work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
No.
And also, let's say that kids want, you have no other option and NDIS is not supporting you. What does it cost leaving them at preschool?
Yes.
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day.
Mm.
What one-on-one support is Ezra getting?
Yes.
Not.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yes.
And then you look at the capacity and it's like, well, if you're able to even get him into a preschool and they are happy to support with the feeding, it doesn't mean it's going to be the same person every time. No guarantee of anything.
It would also be training for those
big time
preschool teachers because they obviously need to learn to feed child.
Absolutely.
So there's training and that sort of thing that go into it. Yeah. On the back of that, if there is a child out there, and there probably is many that do go, they have a lovely preschool or a daycare center the child goes to and they've taught those people how to feed and they're very happy.
Yes.
And my understanding is also that NDIS can still provide support work to assist at preschool with things like helping the child up and down the slide because they may have low muscle tone.
Correct.
Or helping them with the tube feeds because it does take an educator out of a classroom and focused only on that child for the duration of that feed.
Absolutely.
If that child is fed through a pump through the day and there's some sort of error that comes up or some issue that comes up, that support worker would obviously be there to deal with those things. They would be trained what to do in the case of an emergency and that kind of thing to actually aid with the educator's support. Yeah. Is that also correct?
1 billion%.
Okay.
So thankfully, CORE is flexible.
Yes.
Right? So when it comes to our kids that are going through preschool, middle school, whatever schooling.
Yes.
If they require the one-on-one support, which by no means does the public system take into place whatsoever. No. Thankfully, with CORE, yes, you may end up getting, let's say, 20 hours a week of support work.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
That helps you in the morning, in the afternoon. But we know that Ezra needs time at 1 o'clock of an afternoon to be fed a certain way, or maybe even come in an hour earlier to that, like you said. We do some one-on-one play work.
Yes.
Then we're having the feeding. Yep. You absolutely can request that. 1 billion%.
Yes.
Because we're not going to burden anybody else to get, what are you going to do? Come in at the middle of your lunch hour and feed Ezra? No.
Also, I think it's relative now that people don't work where they live or their children don't go to school or preschool where the parents are working. No. So that, it might be 2 or 3 hours for that whole trip to happen.
Absolutely. And you want continuity.
Yes.
That's one of the most important things, I think, particularly with children, is having the same stuff. And of course, we can't guarantee every day.
Of course. Yes.
But you know what? They build rapports. They get to know people. You know, that support person as well is going to get to know Ezra's friends at preschool.
Yes.
You know, and they're also going to see things that, you know, the preschool teachers may not see. And by no means do I mean that, you know, they're not equipped to do it.
No.
It's because Ezra is getting that one-on-one support, and then he might, you know, the support maker will go, oh, I don't think that's quite usual. Let me go back to mum.
Yeah.
They're able to then come back to you and say, listen, I've noticed when Ezra's swallowing, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
You know, also that support worker is documenting
Yes.
everything from the time they get there to the time they finish, what's happened through the day, what Ezra has done, charted it. Those preschool teachers do not have that time.
No.
Nor have they time to deal with that.
No.
So that's where it comes in. And that's where you advocate.
Yes. On the back of asking for funding.
Yes. Demanding funding.
Demanding. Highly encouraging. We did talk about consumables in our last episode, which I think people will have found to be a hot topic.
Big time.
Very specifically and very in a very niche way.
Yes.
A lot of our tube kids are also fed a blended diet. And by that, some families blend themselves.
Of course.
Some use a mixture of blending at home. Yep. Plus, they may also use prepackaged. And other people may choose to just use prepackaged because that works better for their child and their lifestyle.
100%.
Again, there's been a pushback, from what I understand, that they're trying to remove funding for these prepackaged items.
Yes.
There are a few companies out there that do supply these prepackaged meals, which is incredible, and it does take a lot of pressure off. And if you're, you've been busy, or your kid's been in hospital, or unwell, or you just, didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
You can just take it out. It's like, the prepackaged food that you pick up off the supermarket shelves for babies and toddlers. It's that same sort of consistency.
Yep.
You can put it into a tube, or you can put it into a bottle, depending on how your child is fed. Yep. And then you can feed them whole foods. You don't need to feed them things that are high in sugar, or maybe milk, things that your child doesn't tolerate very well. It just gives them an alternative.
Correct.
How do we ensure we get the funding for these kinds of items? Does it come back to that documentation?
Absolutely. Allied health.
Yes.
So, for instance, food especially, dietitian, speech therapy.
Yes.
Work hand in hand.
Yes.
One thing that I find that a lot of pediatric participants and their families, they've never heard of a mealtime management plan.
Yeah.
So a mealtime management plan is it's a wonderful, wonderful concept that these dietitians, speech therapists work together to construct.
Yeah.
And basically shows, for instance, for Ezra, 7 a.m., this is what he has.
Yes.
And again, can be prepackaged, can be whatever way. It'll have their likes, their dislikes in it, which is incredibly important information when you've got support workers coming into your house.
Yes.
And, again, that document is wonderful to support you and the family going in for a plan reassessment.
Okay.
Mealtime management tends to be more for participants that are older and just is a great showcase. However, wonderful documentation. And you can ask your speech therapist and dietitian. Yeah. Have you done a mealtime management before? Okay. I have no idea. You can Google it yourself. Have you a bit of a squiz? Yeah. Ask them. Yeah. Can't hurt.
It could be something too that parents could complete themselves, surely.
100%. Yeah. Well, look, it's even, again, it's like, okay, what did we eat this week? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, morning, afternoon, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Put it in there. Again, helps the dietitian when you go back to talking about food. And let's say, look, you might have been, this entire time feeding your child, it might be too much.
Yes.
Might be not enough, which tends to be a lot of the time with unfortunately, with tube fed. So it's a great way for everyone to keep on the ball, to see visually, where are we at? Weight is a big one. Keeping up those weight. Yeah. And again, great supporting document for plan reassessment. It's around looking at and requesting all different types of prepackaged items, non-prepackaged. I mean, obviously we can't put on there like, he likes to eat pumpkin every day. For that.
We can't blend some pumpkin.
Yeah. No, it's not going to work. We can't ask for a blender. I mean, we can try, but I can guarantee it's not going to get it.
They do fund in my experience. I know a lot of people who have got kids who have got tube-fed kids. They will fund because generally a home blender, you'll not. We're talking about like super thin, like soup, like you would get a soup in a restaurant. We need some that big soup, even thinner.
Oh Lord,
like really water. That's right, not really thin. So
real no way a blender's
high efficiency blender.
Yeah,
there are several brands out there that would. I can think of off the top of my head, and I'm sure other tube families can be like, "Yep, I know what you're thinking of." Perfect. So I think they will.
Good.
But again, it's that advocacy around. I need this because my home blender does not have the efficiency. We need this kind of wattage. We need this type. It's providing an example. It's showing what you need and why.
And also including what you've tried and it didn't work.
Yes.
That's another one.
Yeah, that's
also, again, it comes back to the reasonable and necessary, as they like to point out.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's a piece of equipment that you wouldn't ordinarily have in your home. Most people probably don't have commercial blenders in their homes.
Not to my knowledge.
No.
Even a CMO mix, I don't think.
That's
right. To get to that consistency.
Yes. You've got to really blend it so it's nice and smooth. So it definitely, again, I know people who have been successful in getting these items funded. Yeah. So it really does come down to that documentation, that proof, that evidence, and then advocating for why you need it.
And I would also say to them as well, again, in the application stage, you're in a planning meeting, they go, oh, well, we don't want to fund a blender. And I would say, well, hang on. It's not just a blender.
Yes.
I need this blender because if I don't have it, I'm not able to make the food for my child.
Yeah.
Because they have a very specific requirement because of their medical condition, which has lead them to needing the support because it falls under that disability umbrella.
Yeah.
I need it.
Yes.
Help me.
Yeah.
Help me.
Yeah.
Quotes is a very big thing.
Yes.
For instance, when you are looking consumables, a lot of the support coordinators or the dietitian or whoever the allied is health, they will be the ones that reach out to registered providers. So there's one called Mac and Me.
Yeah.
They're wonderful down south. And they've got everything you can think of. And it's a quick call to them and they'll say, hey, listen, got a planning meeting coming up. These are the things we usually, can you send me a quote?
Yes.
There it is through your email.
Yeah. It's very specific in what they're looking for when they're reviewing these things.
And it's the same as the food as well. So, for instance, there are price lines around meals and whatnot. And again, if you can go back and show in that speech and dietitian report saying that, well, listen, we don't do it all the time, but maybe 5 times a week, we might need to have something frozen in the fridge. We have to do it.
Yeah.
What's your other option?
Yes.
Like Neasy do one, for instance.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah.
There is a way. And it all comes down to as well, what's happening at home. So, if Nan and Pop live in the same house, the first thing the NDIS plan is going, you have informal supports to help you with meal prep.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoop, takes it out of there instantly.
Yes.
So, again, that's what a support worker can also do.
Yes.
Is to help you with meal prep. Yeah. Right. Maybe that's something you say to the planner. Well, you have a choice. I would really, really like to be, have X amount of money spent for prepackaged food.
Yeah.
Or I've worked it out and it's going to be 4 times as much if I employ a support worker to make said meals. What do you think?
Which is better.
That's right.
But it's an interesting way of doing it too, is looking at it in an opposite dimension. So like we
playing the game.
Yeah.
We're playing the game. They want it what's reasonable and necessary.
Yes.
To me, $2,000 as opposed to $40,000, massive difference.
Yeah.
What's reasonable and necessary now, planner?
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, which I think when you're in it, you tend not to think that way. You're just thinking end game is I need this rather than what's the other way around it.
And how would parents know that?
That's what
they would never ever think to go, oh, well, I didn't think of putting it this way.
Yes. Yes.
Why these conversations are so important.
Yeah.
And especially with you, you've been through a few of these planning processes. Yes. You want to make sure that mum down the road that's fighting her own battle is going in with as much information as possible.
Yes, absolutely. NDIS is definitely a beast. It's known as a beast in the community.
Yes.
There is a lot of aspects to it that don't make sense to general lay people.
Oh, 1,000,000,000%. And I get that all the time, though.
When you're in it, I think it's hard to
how to get out of it.
Just to know what's happening on the outside and how people are perceiving it on the outside, because what you know as an insider and what you know from the outside and not knowing anything about it are very different.
Yeah.
NDIS is great in that it does provide different options to people.
Big time.
So if you feel that you're confident enough to self-manage, you can. If you want, to have a little bit of control but want the most part to be dealt with by somebody else, Plan Manager is great. If you don't want anything at all, NDA, DIA, I'll even deal with it. So it's great in that aspect that everybody has some choice.
Choice and control.
Yes, which I think is great. And I think often people are pushed into having it controlled by somebody else.
Yep.
But I would definitely say to anybody out there that if they have the capability to give it themselves, try it. Because once you've got control, it's very easy to manage your providers and
absolutely.
Collate all that information when it does come to review.
Yes.
And get our people talking and speaking with your support coordinator and,
and ask some questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, where's all in I do? What am I missing? What can I what? Actually, going back when you said about the documentation, carer statement and whatnot.
Yes.
It's also great to have supported documentation from your family as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So, that nan and pop that are being forced now to pick up said child 5 days a week, they're also burdened by it.
Yes.
That's all getting impact. I'm not going to say the NDIA read everything because we know they do not. They don't have capacity.
Yes.
Don't even. However, again, you're better off going with a full army than you are going in as a solo.
I would also think that heaven forbid it gets to that point, but if it did end up with NCAT in a review stage, and obviously you've been there and continue to have to face that reality.
Big time.
I would imagine if you've done the right thing from the beginning and laid all your cards on the table and provided all of that documentation right up front, straight up, here's everything.
Correct.
That is going to probably look more favorable on you in those situations where you're seen as you've given them everything they've asked for and more. Why has this not happened?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the process. You go in for your reassessment and, you hopefully get somewhere with something. But, there is unfortunately steps that go through, and I've been through a few internal reviews, which is the process you have to go through first. Yep. So you've done your plan reassessment, not happy with it. No problem. Right. So you're going in for internal review. Mind you, all of this is on the NDIS website. Okay. And it is very simple to understand.
Okay.
The forms are there. So
that's good.
They've done that. Great. No problem. But when it comes to an internal review, they've got basically 60 days.
Okay.
60 days to come back to you and go, well, look, we've reviewed everything, yes or no, essentially.
Okay.
And if they say no, the next one is NCAT. I love NCAT because they are an independent body.
Yes.
And they're the ones that will, you've applied for NCAT.
Yeah.
They read everything and they go, no, we don't agree with this.
Yes.
At all.
Yeah.
I'm working with probably the most complex participant I've ever met in my life. And we have a tribunal meeting in 3 weeks. And it's just beside myself. I cannot fathom how they think families can just support their participants at home. For instance, this participant is 2-to-1. 2-to-1. And they told this wonderful mother, planning meeting, we only think you need 8 hours a day, one-on-one. And I'm like, well, hang on. That doesn't sound right.
No.
Also, at what point do you ask yourself the question or ask the NDIS, why should a 25-year-old woman have to be wiped personal care by her father?
Yeah.
Where's the dignity and respect in that?
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, this is the situation where we're, and we will push.
Yeah.
I don't care how long it takes.
Yeah.
We will get everything we possibly can for that participant, their family, because we as people with disabilities deserve respect.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep fighting.
Yes.
That's why I keep going. I go, you know what? There is a mum, there is a dad, there's someone out there that has no idea about the NDIS.
Yeah.
They've got that planning meeting and they're like, I am 2 seconds away from jumping off that bridge.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? I need to find a person.
That has been really insightful to hear all of this information. I think it's really going to benefit our community around how to apply and how to request things that they may not have in their current plan but do really need, or things that they may request in a first plan that they never thought that they were eligible for, which I think is incredible.
Big time.
I've got one big question for you.
Hit me.
If you could change just one thing about the NDIS, what would it be?
What the NDIA and the NDIS first started for to what it is today, the main reason is completely changed. What I would love to be centered is that every single person living with a disability is heard. And that's the problem now, is that decisions are being made on their behalf. People who are sitting in a call center are reading pieces of paper and making decisions on somebody else's life.
Yes.
And look, there is a lot of us who are able to speak verbally, to communicate what we want, what we need. However, there is a lot of people in our sector, a lot of participants that don't physically, they're not able to. You know, a lot of them have families that are advocating, speaking for them.
Yes.
But where is it? Where are these people able to speak and able to say, you know what? No, I want to have choice and control. I don't want you to make a decision for me. I don't want to have to ration out my personal care pads because you don't feel it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. No.
Yeah.
It needs to come back to that core factor of, I'm a person with disability. You're asking me what's the best way to support me so I can live the best life I can. Talk to me. Talk to me. I'm the participant. Don't talk to everybody else around me. I'm a human. I need to be heard. And so does every other participant in the NDIS. Anyone living with a disability.
Yes.
You know, we are human and we are normal.
Yeah.
So that's what I would change. It needs to be focused on the participant, that person with a disability.
That is
making choices.
Incredible. And I couldn't agree more. I think that that's such a wonderful answer. And I don't think it would be that hard to change, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, no fancy that, you know. That's what happened, you know, when we first started in the NDIS, when we went from block funding to NDIS, you used to have a planning meeting. You would all meet together around the table, the NDIS planner, you, the person, and your family members that you wanted there. And we could all talk about what do we want in our life. You know, we talk about goals and we see this and we have to put these big generic ones in.
Yes.
I want to participate in the community. What does that actually mean?
Yeah.
What does that person actually want?
And how do you get that answer, you know, particularly for our young ones?
Oh, yeah.
I have a 3.5-year-old.
Yeah. Is he telling you what he wants to do when he's 50? No.
No. And he can't tell me what he wants to do today. So
God love
it makes it very difficult
big time
to put commitments on goals.
Yes.
When they're very broad, they're very generic.
Yeah.
And he isn't able to articulate that yet. Your expectation does not align with what the ability of the participant is. In Ezra's age, it has much more to do with age than ability.
Big time.
There will be lots of people out there, older children and young adults and older adults who are, through disability, unable to articulate what it is that they actually need in a traditional sense. But there may be other ways that they could be advocating for what they actually want out of their goals.
Absolutely.
So there are significant shifts that, if things are going to change, that should be looked at by asking the people who are involved in the plans, whether that's plan managers, whether that's support workers, whether that's people like yourself. That's whoever it is. But I think the biggest takeaway is we need to talk more to families of young children about how that early intervention process works, and does it work? And is there things that we can improve? Because some of those things around goals is probably a big thing I would change, because and I'm answering on Ezra's behalf, but he's a human. He is his own person.
That's right.
Yes, legally I am responsible for him.
Yes. But we need to have goals, unfortunately. But you have to have it on that piece of
goals
paper.
because that's how they measure it.
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody somewhere is measuring everything by what's written on that piece of paper, but maybe it's not appropriate for that age or for some participants who are unable to vocalize actually what it is that they want.
That's right.
And they need to look at adapting that. So I think that would be an incredible change. And I'm sure there's a lot of people watching or listening, nodding and shaking their head and agreeing with us, thinking, yes, this is such a simple change that could make a huge difference.
Huge, exactly.
Huge difference.
Yeah, I don't know why they're really hammering around these goals. Oh, geez.
I cannot thank you enough for your time, your knowledge, your incredible attitude towards what is a difficult system.
Which I love still.
That's great.
I thought it's so great. And I'm like, oh, I might be a bit on the negative train. No, positive.
Yes.
I'm very thankful we're the NDIS because if we were in any other country, we would not any way, shape or form. So I am very, very thankful.
Yes,
very thankful.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think you've given people practical strategies that they can apply in their own circumstances to be able to achieve the goal or as close to the goal that they're looking for when it comes to a plan. Yes. And if they don't get that first time, what steps to take in order to get that reviewed and continue to fight the good fight until you get to that.
Oh, we need to have a shirt. That would add that. Good.
Yeah, produce that.
So our tubes.
That'll be so cool.
I love that.
I'm there for it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you'll come back again and let us know if there's any changes in the sector.
There is a change coming, 1st of July.
Yes.
Price Guide update.
Right. So we all need to be aware of that.
So every year, the Price Guide gets updated on the 1st of July.
Okay.
We tend to not get any heads up. We used to. That was really nice. Not usually now. Most providers will be sitting up till midnight waiting for the new price guide for 2025 to 2026 to come out. Okay. So why is that important?
Yes.
Is because that usually there's an increase. So, you know, the support worker rate might go from 67.54 to 69,
Yes.
For instance, you're self-managed. You have choice and control of what that staff member earns.
Yes.
So, you know, most providers will have in their service agreements that, you know, when the price guide is updated, we will automatically change things.
Yes.
However, choice and control.
Yes.
You know, you can go back even before that time on that 1st of July and say, hey, listen, I want to keep it as that because I need to have as much funds as possible.
Yeah.
But obviously that means that provider then makes a choice whether they can continue or not.
Yes.
But also there will be a lot of changes for the price guide. Again, to the best of my knowledge, I couldn't find it in writing saying it was coming in, but they were talking about in call supports, there is a very brief section around you can utilize allied health.
Yes.
Good feeling that's going to go. Because they really want to just put capacity building here, this and this here, this and this there.
There'll be no crossover at all.
Again, I can't say or confirm.
It's looking like it.
But it's a very good chance that it will be. And it makes sense.
Okay.
So 1st of July, that's when the price guide gets updated. It'll be on the NDIS website. It's good to know what the changes are.
Yes.
And unfortunately, they're not going to come and go, well, we've had this and we're going to update it to this. Your support coordinator, that's their job.
Okay.
Come back to them and go, oh, I heard there's a price guide change. What does that do for us?
Yes.
How does that impact us? And that's really, really important. So that's what I would take away.
That's amazing. Thanks for the hot tip. It's only going to be a couple of days away now.
I know, I can't wait. We're all so excited. Price, let's go.
Thank you so much. That's really good advice.
Thank you.
Till the next episode, stay safe and we'll see you soon. A big thank you once again to To Be Fun for their sponsorship of today's episode. Please head over to their Instagram page and check out their wonderful products. Alternatively, you can jump onto their website. Their link is in our show notes. Without the sponsorship of companies like To Be Fun, this podcast isn't possible. So thank you again, To Be Fun.